Hello everyone, welcome to part 6 of this triathlon tutorial. In today's session, we'll be implementing the functionality to edit a profile, right? So we'll build the edit profile page and implement the functionality to edit a profile. If you haven't watched the previous 5-part series of this tutorial, I'll link them down in the description below so you can check them out first. So with that being said, let's get started. So the edit button here is going to pop up the panel controller where we build up our panel. That's going to be similar to the post screen, right? So the on tab here will be handle the functionality in popping up the panel, right? And to do that, we need to first of all start by creating an instance of the panel controller. So I'll do that in here. So the way you create an instance is going to be a panel controller, then you create a variable which is panel controller. So this is the way you create an instance of the panel controller, right? So let's wrap the safe area within a widget, right? And let's rename this to sliding up panel. It's going to be sliding up panel, right? That is the body. So you can pass the body in place of the child over here, and also the controller. So with the controller, we're passing the panel controller. So let's proceed by setting the main height, right, to 0, and also the maximum height, right? We want the panel to be 90% of the screen, right? It's going to be media query.offcontext.size.height, right? That gives us the size of the screen. Then we multiply that by 0.9. That basically the 90% of the screen. So let's save in the changes over here. Oops. So let's give some border radius to the panel controller, right? And this panel, the border radius is only going to affect the top right and also the top left, right? So the top left is going to be radius the circular. Then we pass in the value. The value is going to be 25. We'll be doing same for the top right. Okay, the sliding up panel also takes in the page builder, right? That's basically a function that takes in the scroll controller and returns a widget. So within the panel builder, we're going to return the edit profile page, right? Which is not yet created, so I'll be creating it sooner. So in here, we'll be returning the edit profile. So let's head towards our screen folder and create a new file. I'm going to name this file as edit profile. So in here, I'll be creating a stateful widget, right? And rename that to edit profile. So initially, let's return a scaffold. And also the body of this scaffold is going to take in a center widget with a child as a text displaying the edit profile text. We'll start editing it sooner, right? So once we have that set up within our profile, we can just import our edit profile screen over here. So let's give it a try. To do that, we actually need to pass into the edit profile button, right? So the on press of this on top of this is going to handle the functionality in popping the panel, right? And we need to check whether the panel is open or not. So I'll create a state variable at the top, and it's going to be of a Boolean type. So the variable name is going to be panel open. So initially we're going to assign a false value, right? So the return type of this is going to be Boolean. So in here we check whether the panel is open. If it's panel open, then we can make use of our panel controller to close the panel. So panel controller.close, else panel controller.open. So that's basically the functionality in popping and closing the panel. So let's give it a try. There you go, as you can see. So let's start working within our edit profile page, right? It's going to be similar to the post screen, right? It's going to be, you are going to have the header over there. So I'll just move into my post screen and grab the code over there, starting from the padding, so we can make the necessary changes. So in here, I'll get rid of the scaffold and replace it with the code. So let's start by making the necessary changes. So let's comment this out. And also the on press of this function is going to be set to this. And below the divider, I'm going to get rid of all this code. Alright. So let's save any changes and check it out. There you go. This is what we need. So let's rename the new thread to edit profile. And also the post to done. So let's save in the changes. So once you have that, you can start building our edit profile page, right? So below the divider is going to be an expanded widget with a child of it center. So in here we'll be starting with the container widget over here. So let's give the container a width, and the width is going to be double dot infinity. That takes the entire width of the screen. So let's provide a height. The height is going to be 3/4. And also it is in the decoration where you can specify a box decoration. So within the box decoration, you can provide it a border. So the border is going to be border.all. That is in the color. And you specify the color to be gray and give it a width. The border width to be 0.5. As you can see over there. So let's wrap the container within a padding widget to give enough space around. So this pattern is going to affect all size, a value of 12. And let's give it a border radius as well. So border radius dot circular. Then we pass in a value of 15. There you go. So the chart of the container is going to be a column. And the column takes in the children. In here, we can specify a list of widgets over here, right? So you are going to start with the lister. So the lister takes in the title. And the title is going to be a text widget over here. So in here, the text is going to display the name field, as you can see over there. So we want a text below the name field, right? So the lister takes in the subtitle. So we provide it a text. So in here, we need to give the username over here. There you go. And also the lister also takes in the trailing, right? That places the widget at the very end. So with the trailing, we specify a circle avatar and give some radius to it, radius of 20. So initially, let's assign some image to this circle avatar, right? So with the background image, we can provide it an asset image, right? And this asset image is going to be from our asset directory. So the name of the image is going to be profile.png. Oops. So it actually needs to be from our assets directory / the name that's profile.png. So let's hot restart. There we go. So below the list star is going to be the divider that will separate. So we also be having a list style over here, right below the divider. So I'll grab this list style and make the necessary changes, right? So this is going to deal with the bio. So the title will be changed to the bio, and also the subtitle is not going to be a text anymore. It's rather going to be a text form field, right? An input for the user to enter, update his or a bio. So with the decoration of the text form field, it's going to be an input decoration, right? So let's specify the border. So we don't want any border, right? So it's going to be input border.none. And also let's get rid of the trailing widget over there, so you can see our inputs. So let's also provide some hint text over there. So you can just start with any text. Buyer needs to be here. This is kind of like a placeholder. And also let's provide some hint style and reduce the hint text, right? So you can provide it a font size of 14. Good. So we also need a divider to separate this list style. We also need one more list style with a divider as well, right? And that's going to be for our link, the user's link, if you want to update the link, right? So the hint text is going to be my YouTube link, serving as a placeholder over there. So you can feel free to change the text over there. There you go. Similarly, school. So below that is going to display whether our profile should be private or not, right? So we are going to start with a row. The row is in the children. We want to align these widgets horizontally. So the first widget is going to be the test widget with a test of private profile. Let's save in the changes. There you go. Let's wrap the row within a pattern, and this pattern is going to be symmetric. So with a symmetric, we need to provide it two values, the horizontal and also the vertical. So the horizontal is going to be 12 and to affect the left and right, and also the vertical top and down, the same value as 12. So once we have that, next to the text is going to be the switch widget, right? That's basically the toggle button over there. So the value is going to take in a boolean, so our create a state variable is checked and passing over that. And also the onChange takes in a function that accepts the value. Then we can later on change the value by setting the state. So let me create the state variable over here. So the return type is going to be boolean. Initially I'm going to assign it a false value. So you can, within the onChange, we can set state. Oops, overflow. So let's set the main axis alignment to be main axis alignment dot space between. That will give enough space between the two widgets. And also let's increase the height of the container, right? So let's set it to 350. Good. So the on change of this, you can set state and assign the new value to our state variable, right? So we can later on assign the value to our variable is checked. So we can now switch between. We can actually change the color of this toggle button. So with the active color argument, you can change it. So let's change the color to black. So you can set the colors dot black and save in the changes. So when you toggle, you can see the black color. So let's add functionality to make the image clickable, right? So you can do that by wrapping the circular avatar within a widget known as the inkwell. So inkwell comes with the on tab argument. So that's basically going to be the function that gets called when it's clicked. So let's save in the changes. I think we're almost done with the edit profile page. So let's add functionality to the cancel button and also the done button, right? So we need to pass the panel controller to the edit profile page so we can just use that. So I'll just do that in here. So I'll pass the panel controller. So in here we need to require that within our edit profile. So in our edit profile, we are going to require this panel controller. Then we create an instance over here. So we can make use of this panel controller by calling widget.panelcontroller.close. So now the cancel functionality now works. So let's give it a try. There we go. So you can now cancel the panel. So let's start to create the user model, right? So in here, we're going to have a class of user model. So what are the attributes of this user, right? So we are going to access the name over here, the username, the profile pic, the bio, and also the link as well. So let's rename that. They are all going to be of type string. The profile image URL. So this is going to be null. It can be null. And also the bio and the link as well. So let's require that in the constructor. So we can actually generate the JSON serialization over here. So this is basically an extension within the VS Code that comes with to map from map to JSON and also from JSON method. It's really handy. Oh, we forgot to make the bio and also the link null. So this can be null as well. So in here we need to generate this JSON serialization again. So in here you can see it checks for the null over there. So once we have our user model within our profile screen, you can make some necessary changes over here. So let's start by creating a variable. The return type of the variable is going to be stream. It's going to return our user model, and it's going to be named as the user stream. So in fetching our data, it's going to be a stream that returns to us the user model. So in here we'll be doing something similar over here. So let me get rid of this first. And also using the stream, you can just call the snapshot dot map are going to loop through the document, right, and use return the user model dot from map. So you can see it's very handy. You can have the from map and also from JSON. So that from map can pass now doc.data, and that's going to be as map of string and dynamic. So let me get rid of this. You can return this straight away. So that should be it. So basically we are moving through a users collection, passing our ID, current users ID, and looping through the document to get its information. So in here, in fetching the users thread, you need to pass in a user model, right? So in here you can refer that to user.name. I think that should be it. And also the sender profile image URL. It's going to be user.sender profile image URL. So since that can be null, you can just set a default value over there. So I'll paste this. So you can actually get rid of these two variables. So in fetching of our data, you can use our user stream and store the data we get back within the user stream. Where's the error coming from? Oops, it's supposed to be stream that returns as a user model. Let's get rid of the async over there. Yeah, we're good. So in here, let's wrap the edit profile within a stream builder, right? The object over here is going to return as the user model. We are going to get a user back, right? So the stream is going to listen to a function. That's why you provided a user stream. And also it takes in the builder, that takes in the context and a snapshot. So the snapshot is what actually holds our data. So in here we can check for the state of the snapshot. If our snapshot dot connection state is equal to connection state dot active, that's when you actually get our data back. You can also check for the snapshot whether it has data. So in here you can just create a user model and access the data within our snapshot. So snapshot.data. So the user model here can be null. So once we have that, we can return our edit profile over here. And we can actually pass in the user to the edit profile. We need the user within our edit profile, so we can pass in the user. So let's add that parameter to that. There you go. So here you can check for the else. We can return a center with a chart as a test that displays no user. So in here, let's check whether our user is not equal to null before passing that to the edit profile page, right? So if our user is not equal to null, you can just return our edit profile passing in this information, and else we are going to return this. And the default else statement, we can return a circular progress indicator. So if our user is not equal to now, we can just pass an edit profile. I want to return a circular progress indicator. So in here, let's wrap the column within a string builder as well. And the object in here is going to return our user model. And the stream is going to listen to the our user stream. So the snapshot over here is what holds our data, so we can check for the state of the snapshot. So if our connection state is equal to connection state dot active, you can also check whether it has data. So if it's active, you can return the column. So I'll just grab the code in here. So if it's active, you can just return this, right? So here I'll create a variable to hold our data, right? So we create our user over here. Then we assign our snapshot.data to our user. So we can make use of our user variable. So where it displays the full name, we can actually use our user dot name. So here is going to be our user dot username. So let's use the now away operator over here. So in here, to require one position argument, that's where we can provide it our user as well. So in fetching the trace, we fetch the trace by filtering the user out. And also we need to provide the image as well. So in here, let's check whether the profile image URL is not equal to null. So if our profile image is not equal to null, we can return a circular progress indicator with this background image, right? So the image is no longer going to be from our assets folder. So let's provide an else statement over here, and it's going to be similar to this. So in here we specify it to be our network image. That's why we request it from online. So it expects a string. That's why we provide it our user.profile image URL. That counts as a string. Let's get rid of the cons in here. So if our profile image is not equal to null, we'll be doing this. Else, we also be setting a network image. This time around, we'll be requesting the image from online. That's going to be our default image over here. Default profile image. In case you've not yet set one. So we pass that. So else we'll be returning the circular progress indicator in case our connection state is not active. So let's hot restart. So in here, the sender profile image URL is going to be from our user.profile image URL. So you can get rid of this. So if you don't have that, you can just provide this the default. Why is it not happening? Oh, actually, we actually requested the image from our asset folder within our. So we need to change that to network image. I think it should work this time around. So let's how to restart. It's not appearing over here. Interesting. Oh, there we go. You can see it over there. It delays. But it seems not to be appearing over here within our feed screen. So I think let's continue to fix that. So let's fix that over here. So within our feed screen, so when you check within our database, you can see the ID of each thread message is linked to a user, right? So you can see, let's search for the other ID that's starting from Z. There you go. You can see this ID is linked to a user, right? So we can just search through our users and get our profile image URL, right? So I'll just repeat that over here and I'll rename this to our user collection. So it's going to be users over here. So here we'll be creating a function that will get our sender profile image URL, right? So basically the return type is going to be a string. So the function name is going to be get sender image URL. That is in the string of an ID. That's where we access it from our thread message. So here we're creating a variable of user dog. We take our user collection .doc, passing in the ID and get. So here we check if our user dog exists. So if user dog.exists, we can actually take our user dog data. That's going to be as map of string and dynamic. So in here we can access the profile image URL field within our user data. So initially we're not having any profile image URL field in that. So that is going to replace it with the default value, right? So in case you set a new one for that, you can actually access that from it. So you can access the profile image URL from our user data. If you don't have it, you put this default value over there. So if our user dog doesn't exist, you can return an empty string, since the return type of it is a string. So let's proceed to add this functionality within the code. So in here we actually need to change this. It's not going to be constant anymore. So we're returning a future build over here. That is in the future and also the builder. So the future is going to listen to the function. So that's where you provide it get sender image URL. That is in the ID. So we can get the access to the ID from our message data. It has an ID field, so we can pass in the ID. And also the builder is a function that takes in the context and also the snapshot as I said already, the snapshot is what actually holds the data. So within the builder, it actually returns a widget. So I'll just grab this and saving the changes. So this snapshot data comes with a string. That's the profile image URL, right? So you can just replace. So first of all, let's check for the state of the snapshot. If the snapshot doesn't has data, so opposite of that, you can actually return a test widget of an empty string. Let's also check whether our snapshot has error. So if snapshot.has error, then you can return a test displaying the error. Snapshot.error supposed to be snapshot.has error. So if we get our data back, we can actually pass in our snapshot data to the sender profile image URL field. So snapshot.data. So if you don't have that, you can just provide it a default value. You can see it immediately changes. We don't have the profile image URL yet. So once we implement the functionality in setting a new profile, you're going to see it within our database. So let's proceed. So within our edit profile page, let's start rendering some users information over here, right? So the subtitle of this is going to show the username and also the full name of the user, right? So we use widget.user and we can access the name field. It's not going to be constant anymore. So basically we're going to display our user name and also the full name over here into brackets at, then we provide our username. So this is how it's going to look like as you can see over there. So you can see the username and also the name reflecting over here. And also the text form field of this bio text in the controller, right? So that basically handles the user's input. So let's pass in our bio controller. So we've not yet created a variable, so I'll be creating it at the top over there. So find our bio controller, and that's going to be our text editing controller. So let's create one for the link controller as well. So once we have that, we can just pass in the link controller to the link field. I think that's it. So let's install these two dependencies, right? Let's install the Firebase storage. That's where we upload our image and also the image picker. So Flutter pub add Firebase _ storage with a space, and also the other dependency is the image picker. So once we have a successful installation, we can just proceed to use our Firebase storage. So to do that, let's head towards our build over here and choose our storage and get started with the storage. So we can start that in a test mode with the next button, hit on done. There you go. We've added storage to our project. So in here, let's actually start by creating a function and uploading the image. to our Firebase. So the function name is going to be upload image, right? It's going to be an asynchronous function. So within that, let's start by creating an instance of the image picker. So final picker is called image picker. So he also creates another variable of the picked file, right? This variable is going to hold the image that's being picked. So we await, then we use the picker.pick image. So that is in the source. So the source of this image is going to be from our gallery. So image source dot gallery. So let's check for the state of the pick file. If our pick file is not equal to null, so if our pick file is not equal to null, you can just upload that to Firebase, right? So the way we do that, I'll create a file over here. So the pick file comes in a file format, so we need to pass the pick file path to this file and save it within the file variable. So let's import the .io file library. So I'll also be creating another variable, and this variable is going to be called storage reference. So in here we'll be using our Firebase storage .instance .ref.chart. So the chart is in the path, right? So you are going to store these images within a directory called profile_images. Then we are going to provide it a unique ID. So the unique ID is going to be based on our current user. Then we access the ID field with the extension of JPG. So in here we need to bring in our current user. So Firebase auth.instance.current user. So we can pass in our user ID. Where is 0 coming from? Actually, we have two users within this file. So I think we have to rename that. So let's rename this user to current user. So you can make use of this current user. It's supposed to be .uid. There you go. So once we've specified the path of storing the image, so you can use try catch block over here. So I'll create a variable of upload, and I'll take our storage ref and put file, passing in our file variable that holds the image file. So here I'll also be creating a snapshot of the file. So that's going to be awaiting our upload and check when complete. So when complete, you can just get our download URL, right? So we await our snapshot .ref.get download URL. So once we get our downloaded URL, so I'll be creating a variable of profile image URL. So initially it's going to be an empty string over here. So once we get our downloaded URL, we can now set state and assign our profile image URL the downloaded URL. That's from Firebase. So it can be final, so you can just rename that to a string, right? So within the catch block, we can actually debug print the error. So we've now implemented the functionality to upload the image, right? So within the init state method over here, since this is our edit profile page, within the init state, we are going to assign the profile image URL. Our user initially profile image URL of our user to this profile image URL. If you don't have access to that, you can just provide it a default value. You can also set our bio controller test to be from our widget.user.biocontroller_test. That will grab the test within the profile session. And also we'll be doing the same thing for the link controller. So initially when you click on the edit profile button, it's going to show the bio test and also the link test as well, including the profile image URL. If you don't have that yet, you're going to have an empty space. So let's provide this upload image function. To a button, right? So the image over here is going to, so here we are going to provide the upload image function. So the image is not going to be a constant anymore. So we are going to use the network image and pass in our profile image URL. Let's get rid of the cons in here, saving the changes. You can see it immediately refreshes. Since the user doesn't have any profile image URL yet, it takes the default one. So you can now pick image over here, and you can see it will fillet over there. There you go. So let's proceed to add the functionality in updating the bio and also the link in addition with the profile image URL as well, right? So I'll be creating a function here, and the return type of this function is going to be a void. The name of the function is going to be update user profile, and it's going to be an asynchronous function. So in updating the user profile, we'll be having a try catch block over here. So in here we await our Firebase firestore dot instance dot collection. So the collection name is going to be our users collection dot doc. Then we pass in our current user UID. Then we'll be setting a new field in addition to what we already have, right? So here we'll be passing in a bio, the bio field, and that's going to be from our biocontroller.text. And also we'll be setting the link field. It's also going to be from our link controller.text. And also the profile image URL. You pass in the profile image URL. So next to that, you can just set options with a merge of true. So within the catch block, we can actually debug print the error. So once you have that, we can just pop off the panel. So widget.panelcontroller.close, and you can just print the error in case it fails to update the user profile. So in here, let's pass in the function to this done button, right? That will update the user profile. So you can give it a try. So you can see the image we pick over here. It's going to be within our storage. So you can see the directory with the image we just picked. So we get the downloaded URL field. So once we update, you can see it will come with the bio, the link, and also the profile image URL in addition to the user's field. So let's proceed with that functionality. So let's click on the edit profile, try to update, select the friend image for that. So it will update over there. So let's set a bio for that. So you can go with any text, updating bio, and also with a link. I'll provide my YouTube link. So if you find this tutorial to be useful, consider subscribing. So once you have, you can just click on done. Oops, there we go. You can see it reflects immediately, right, with the bio, the image, and also the name, right? So the home page is going to reflect accordingly with the image. How cool is that? So when we check within our database, you can see the bio, the link, and also the profile image URL is being added in addition to the username and the name. So this user don't have that details yet, right? So let's show the bio over there. If a user dot bio. So let's use the now aware operator. If you have a bio, we are going to return it. Else we are going to return the default one. You can see it reflects immediately. So now our update works perfect. So we can update our profile. So I'll go with a bio over here. Maintain the link and just hit on done, and boom, it changes accordingly. How cool is that? So in here there's one more change to implement, right? So importing a thread, you need to show the user's information over there. So I'll move into our post screen and we edit this functionality, right? So the return type is going to be our user model, and you're going to rename the function to fetch user data. So in fetching the user data, it's going to be similar, but we get rid of this set state, and we can actually create a user variable and call our user model dot from map. We pass in our user doc dot data. That's going to be as map of string and dynamic. So once you have that, you can actually return the user. So within the init state, let's get rid of this username. I'll be creating a variable to hold the information in fetching the user data, right? So it's going to be fetch user. So the return type is going to be the user model. So you can just update the fetch user by calling the fetch user data. So in here we wrap the column in a stream builder. So we need to rename that to future builder and pass in the user model. So the future is going to listen to a function where we provide it our fetch user function. And in here we check for the state of the snapshot. If it has data, This time around, if it doesn't have data, we're going to return a text of no data. Or we can actually return a circular progress indicator. We can also check if our snapshot dot has error, and you can display the error accordingly. So the default case is going to return this, right? So in here, I'll assign the snapshot data to the user variable over here, so you can make use of the user variable. So in here, the username need to change to user dot, then the username. So let's use a now aware operator. And also the image is not going to be a constant anymore. It's going to be from our network image. Then we pass in our profile image URL. So in here, we need to get rid of the const. It's not going to be a constant anymore. And check and now. So let's save in the changes. We are having an error. Okay, so in here, let's actually pass in the username as a parameter and pass that downwards. So we can actually pass in the user dot name. The argument future, let's call that as a function. So let's hot restart and check that out. There we go. So you can actually see the necessary information over here. So see you in our next tutorial. Until then, stay tuned.